BIONICLE Chronicles 3, Makuta's Revenge. Written by C.A. Hapka. Recording by The First Shadow. Chapter 7, The Search. Tahu opened his eyes and sat up, unsure how much time had passed. There was no sign of the Borak call anywhere. Beside him, Lewa began to stir. "Ugh," he said blearily. "What happened?" "I believe we have just been given a warning by the Borak call," Onua said heavily, pushing himself upright. "They obviously do not want us interfering with their search." Tahu scowled. "No?" he cried, jumping to his feet. "Well, the Borak call will pay for daring to challenge the Toa Nuva. We shall—" "Tahu," Gali cut him off. By this time, all 6 Toa were awake, sitting up and testing their limbs for injury. "This is no time to worry about our pride. If they find Karak and Garak and free them, the Borak swarms will strike again." "But how do we stop them?" Pahatu sounded worried. "Our powers are gone." Tahu noticed that Lewa's eyes were clouded and his expression slightly pained. "What is it, brother?" he asked with concern. "Are you hurt?" Lewa shook his head. "No, it's not that," he said. "It's just—" His voice trailed off hesitantly. "What?" Tahu asked sharply, not liking the look in Lewa's eyes. It reminded him of the way the air Toa had looked after being taken over by the Borak swarms. "Tell us what's wrong." It was an order, not a suggestion. "Fine, fine," Lewa said. "Don't get your swords in a muddle twist. I could be dream thinking it from the blow, but I thought I heard something. From the Borak call." "Heard something?" Gali repeated with interest. "What do you mean?" Lewa shrugged. "Communication. Thought talk," he said. "Like that of the Krana." Pahatu blinked in surprise. "Are you saying there are Krana inside these Borak call, controlling them just as there were in the Borak?" "That would make sense," Kopaka pointed out. "These Borak call seem to be related to the Borak somehow. They share the same goal." "Not exactly," Gali said. "After all, Borak call don't seem interested in damaging anything. They left the villages untouched." "They're trying to frighten us," Lewa said. "To make us run so we won't try to stop them." Kopaka scowled. "No one makes me run," he said coldly. "No one." For once, Tahu agreed with the Ice Toa. "Enough talk," he said. "Gali, you, Pahatu, and Onua, go back to the Borak nest. See if you can discover what happened to Karak and Garak. Kopaka, Lewa, and I will keep after the Borak call. See if we can slow them down." "I suggest we all keep our eyes out for Kanohi Nuva masks," Onua said as he joined Gali and Pahatu. "With our elemental energies gone, we need all the help we can get." Onua was troubled as he followed Gali and Pahatu, heading for the entrance to the Barag's nest. "How are we supposed to do it?" he thought uneasily. "How are we supposed to fulfill our destiny to protect Motunui when our greatest powers have been taken from us?" Gali glanced over her shoulder at him. "This is a momentous challenge that we face, brother," she commented. "Perhaps the greatest test yet of our resolve." Shading his eyes against the glare of the sun, Onua smiled at her. He had often noticed that the Toa of Water could all but read others' thoughts at times. "Yes," he agreed. "It will not be easy, but we cannot falter. All of Motunui depends on us." "The weakness this time may lie in the Krana call," Gali pointed out. "They could be controlling the Borak call just as the Krana controlled the regular swarms." Onua nodded. "I was thinking about that too," he said. "I hope Brother Lewa is right about hearing Krana voices. It could be our only hope." "I suppose so," Pahatu said. "If we can figure out a way to separate the Krana call from the Borak call, we just might—" "Hush," Onua broke in, picking up a sound from somewhere up ahead. A second later, something large and fast-moving crashed into sight from around a bend in the riverbed. It was the reddish-colored Borak call, the one known as the Tanakh call. "Stand aside, Toa Nuva," it hissed loudly as it came. "You are in my way." "We will not," said Pahatu boldly. "If you want to go this way, you'll have to go through us." Onua stepped up beside him, as did Gali. The Tanakh call didn't slow its pace. It merely raised its shield, sending several lightning bolts shooting out of it. "Look out!" Gali shouted, but it was too late. The bolts hit the ground underneath Onua, flinging him into the air, where he tumbled over and over before landing with a heavy thud on the bank of the dry river. "Oof!" Pahatu grunted as he landed beside him a second later. Nearby, Gali dropped heavily onto the hard-packed ground as well. Onua blinked, trying to clear his mind. Pushing himself upright, he looked down into the riverbed just in time to see the tonic call hurrying on without a backward glance. The Toa of Earth squinted, willing his sun-weakened eyes to focus. "Look," he croaked, pointing. "Is that—" The other two followed his gaze. Galli gasped. "A Chronicle," she said. "The creature carries it beneath its face shield. So Lewa was right." Pohatu stared after the tonic call as it disappeared around a bend. "That thing," he said, sounding shaken. "It didn't even slow down. It just knocked us aside and kept going." Galli climbed to her feet. "Come on, brothers," she said wearily. "The only good news is that the tonic call was heading away from the tunnel entrance. We'd better take advantage and get there before it does." Soon the three of them were hurrying up a rocky slope. At the top, Onua knew they would find the entrance, buried under a giant pile of rocks. After their battle with the Borak Queens, an avalanche had completely covered the opening. Pohatu was already moving forward toward the pile of rocks. He drew back 1 foot and kicked at a large boulder. "Ow!" he shouted as his foot connected with the solid stone. The boulder didn't budge. "Pohatu, don't," Galli said gently. "Without your powers, you'll only wear yourself out." Onua sighed. "We're going to have to find a different way," he said. Galli stared at the covered cave entrance. "I'm starting to think that seeking out the Barag ourselves is a waste of time," she said. "It's unlikely we would be able to stop the Borak call from getting to them anyway. I think we should focus instead on finding a way to get those Chronicle. Without them, the Borak call will most likely be left directionless and harmless." "I agree," Onua said. "We need to get those Chronicle any way we can." End of chapter 7.